Hello children, Namaste Bharat. It's Merchant of Venice Act 1 Scene 2 in modern English text from Sri Digital Basic Math. The second scene is start from the conversation between Portia and Nerissa. Portia is a beautiful lady from Belmont which we have read in Act 1. Nerissa is maid servant of Portia who is the good friend of Portia. Portia shared his feeling to Nerissa and said, I swear, Nerissa, my little body is tired of this great big world. Nerissa said, You would be sweet, madam, if your miseries were as abundant your good fortunes are, and yet for all see that they are sick from overeating, as sick as those that starve with nothing. It's not an insignificant happiness, therefore, to be well situated in regard to financial resources, having more than enough comes at some time or other to old men, but having a sufficient income last longer. Portia agreed with Nerissa and replied, Well spoken, those are good saying. Then Nerissa said, They would be better sentence if you followed them well. Portia told, If knowing what to do were as easy as knowing what was good to do, chapels would have been churches, and poor men's cottage would have been prince's palace. It is a good prophet that follow his own instruction. It's easier for me to teach 20 people what was good to do than to be one of that 20 and follow my own teaching. The brain may come up with laws to control society, but one hot temper jumps over a cold law. Madness, the youth is just such a jumper, escaping over the net of good advice, the cripple. But thinking this way is not way to choose a husband for me. Oh, me the word choice. I can't choose someone I like or refuse, someone I dislike. So is the behavior of living daughter curbed by the will of a dead father. Isn't it hard, Narisha, that I can't choose one or refuse none? Then Nerissa said, Your father was always virtuous and holy man. Have a good idea. When they are dying, he was set up a lottery where your suitors will have to choose between chest of gold, silver, and lead, and whoever chooses the right one will win you as a wife. And I'm sure whatever choice correctly will be a man who will love you well. But what are your feelings toward the princely suitors who have already paid you visits? Portia said, Please say their names again. And as you name them, I will describe them. And according to my description, you can figure out how I feel about them. Nerisha. First, there is the Prince of the Naples. Then Portia said, Yes, he is a cunning fellow indeed, because he doesn't do a thing but talk about his horses, and he makes it a great attribute to his own good quality that he can show him himself. I am very afraid, my lady, his mother had an affair with a blacksmith. Then Nerissa said, Then there is a county. Then Portia said about County Plantin, he does nothing but frown, as if he is saying, If you will not have me as your husband, choose someone else. He doesn't smile when he hears funny stories. I worry that when he grow old, he will turn into a weeping philosopher, since he is so full of impolite sadness as a Young man, I had rather me married to a skull with a bone in its mouth than to either of these men. God defend me from these two. Nerissa said, What do you have say about the French Lord Monsieur Libon? And Portia said, God created him, so I guess he counts as a man. I know it is a sin to mock someone like his, but he deserves it. He has a horse better than the prince from Naples, and from more than the Count Palatine, and he imitate quality of every other man, so that he seems to have no personality himself. If a bird sings, he start dancing right away, and he will show off his fencing moves against his own shadow. If I were to marry him, I had have 20 husbands. I wouldn't mind if he despised me, because if he madly loves me, I will never return his affection. Again, the Narissa asked, what do you say then about the Flancron Breeze, the young Baron of England? Then Portia said, you know that I say nothing to him, because he can't understand me and I can't understand him. He knows neither Latin, French, or Italian, and you could swear in court of law that I have practically no English, and he looks like a proper man, but who can him but who can talk with someone who can't talk back? And how strange his clothes are. I think he bought his jacket in Italy, and his socks in France, and his hat in Germany, and his behavior everywhere. Again, the Nerissa asked, what do you think about the Scottish lord, his neighbors? Then Portia replied, I think he has a neighborly sense of charity, because he received a slap from the Englishman and only threatened to hit him back later when he could. I think the Frenchman promised to join with him to pay the Englishman back and added another slap. Then Nerissa asked, how do you like the young man who belongs to German and the Duke of the Saxony nephew? Then Portia tell. Again, Nerissa asked, how do you like the young German, the Duke of Saxony's nephew? Then Portia said, I dislike him in the morning when he's sober, and I really hate him in the afternoon when he drunks. At his best, he is not quite a man, and at his worst, he is barely better than a beast. Even if worst comes to worst, I hope I won't have to marry him. Then Nerissa asked, if he chose the right casket and you refused to marry him, you had be refusing to follow your father's will? Portia, well then, for fear that might happen, please place a glass of wine on the wrong casket, because I know he will choose that one. I will do anything, Nerissa, to make sure I don't have to marry to a sponge. Then Nerissa told Portia, you don't have to worry about any these lots, my lady. They have told me their intentions, and they are all planning on returning home and not bothering you anymore, unless they can win your favor by some other way than your father's plan with the caskets. Then Portia said, if I live to be as old as Sibylla the witch, I will die as pure as Dinah, the goddess of purity. Unless I am obtained by the letter of my father's will, I am glad this batch of would be husbands are so reasonable, because there is not one of them that I am not foolishly in the love with his very absence, and I pray God grant them a fair departure. After all, Nerissa made remember to Portia, do you remember, lady, from your father's time in Venice, a scholar and a soldier who came here along with the Marcus or the Montferrat? Portia said, yes, yes, it was Bassanio, I think, or so he was called. Nerissa said, true, madam. He that of all the men that I have ever seen with my foolish eye was the most deserving of a beautiful lady, Portia. I remember him well, and I remember him being worthy of your praise. Meanwhile, a serving man coming near them and told, "The four strangers are looking for you, madam, to say their goodbyes, and there is a messenger come from a fifth, the Prince of Morocco, who brings word the prince, his master, will be here tonight." Portia said, "If I could welcome the fifth with as good a heart as I can bid the other for goodbye, I would be happy of his arrival. If he has condition of a saint and the complexion of a devil, I would rather he heard my confession than marry me. Come, Nerissa, servant, go ahead for me, while we shut the gate on one would be husband, another knock at the door." This is how Act 1, Scene 2 ends. Its Hindi text will be represented to you soon with complete explanation. Stay healthy, stay safe. Goodbye. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.